Welcome back, everyone, to Imagine Better, episode 16 with Joni Woods. Now, Joni, not only is she a relationship coach, so I'm going to have to dig into that side of her story a little bit. She is, you do group psychology?
I do, but I'm going to have to time out on that. You may have to redo it. My name's actually pronounced Johnny.
Oh, is it really?
Yep.
Oh, I'm not cutting that out. So wait, hey, have it in there.
Okay.
This is raw. This isn't a show of editing. So, Johnny, I would have never, ever.
Nobody ever does.
Johnny.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I want everyone to eventually just see that name and be like, oh yeah, that's Johnny.
That's Johnny. Yeah. Johnny, be good. Okay, we're going to get into that one.
Okay, all right.
That's great. Well, thank you. Hey, that's what I love about this. Hey, I'm not perfect, you guys. Johnny is a coach, a workshop speaker. You do group psychology. Mm-hmm. Am I missing anything? You're an awesome human being from what I can tell. And
I'm a mom, and I'm publishing my first book.
Woo! Congrats. When do we get to have the reading pleasure of this?
Think it'll be out January 2025.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that one.
How long has this been in the process for?
I wrote it in the middle of the night between 2016 and 2017.
Okay.
So it took 2 years. And then I just kind of put it on the back burner. But when I started my business, everyone was like, well, you need to be speaking and you need to have a book. And I was like, my book's not really applicable to what I'm trying to do in the corporate world, but I could sell a book.
Right.
Why not?
Hey, it's not easy to write. I mean, I have one book, which I gave you a copy here today. Mm-hmm. And it took me, that little thing, 189 pages, 4 years to write because I was processing, going through life myself. And then when I finally sat down towards the end, I started, like 1,000 words a day. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, I'm determined to get this out there, which I did. So it's been out now a little over a year now, but congratulations. What's the name of this thing? Can you share it? Or you're going to hold that behind the curtain right now?
No, I can share it because my publicist is kind of going to make me change it. But originally when I wrote it, it was Surviving Divorce, Dating, and Dick Pics.
I love it. I would tell your publishers to keep that title.
I know,
but
I want to go work in the corporate world and with CEOs, and they might not appreciate that title of a book.
Oh my, that's actually brilliant, though. Come on. Comment below if you guys like it. We're gonna challenge the publisher and the corporate peeps out there.
Right.
So you have an impressive background. I mean, you've been through some relationships. I mean, what got you into relationship coaching? Was it because of, I hate to use the word failed relationships, but I think I will, just because that's the first thing that popped in my mind?
No, I was a youth and young adult pastor for almost 20 years.
Really?
And
okay.
So I've spent a lot of time working with families and watching relationships in kind of their dirtiest parts of it. There's a lot of behind the scenes in religion and that kind of stuff that is sad to see, and it doesn't have to be like that. We have healthy relationships when we're genuine and authentic.
Right.
And I was not seeing that. And so after my divorce, I was all good to be like, okay, deuces. I don't want to do this. We're good. And I started working at a hospital, and then I had realized that people are miserable everywhere. Relationships are miserable everywhere. It didn't matter that I was in this small bubble of a church.
Right.
I would work in the hospital, or I'd go talk to people. I was a bartender. I was just doing so many jobs while I was trying to make ends meet as a single mom. And I just didn't realize how bad and unhealthy relationships are and how long people will stay in them. That's what's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I stayed in mine for 15 years, and it took a lot of little steps towards wanting to see a different life before I even made the change.
Well, I would imagine, I mean, I've been in and out of relationships, good, the bad, the ugly ones, and I think for a lot of people, myself included, it's scary, because I think a lot of us, we like to be with someone. We feel that, I read something, it was from a therapist, it was on your website when I first reached out to you, and it was that somewhere on your website, it was a therapist that was saying about how with the relationship, I can't remember verbatim, maybe you can help me here, but at the end of it, it was something about how I don't know, it's almost like we want or need to feel if we're part of a relationship, we are complete as a person or something like this. I don't know, maybe I'm probably batshit crazy wrong, guys.
Are we talking on my Instagram? Because I post on that thing all the time.
I thought it was on your website. Now I'm going to have to look at it. I'll put it in the description here, guys.
Okay.
But, okay, so, walk me through this. I mean, when you get into relationship coaching, what are some of the things that you do? Because I also realize it's individuals as well as, professional world and personal life.
Right. Because relationships are everywhere. I've had my fair share of good ones and bad ones, and I've had falling out with my family, my parents. We stopped talking for a while there. So any relationship can fall apart if we're not focused on communicating. And so what I do, like right now I'm working with a family who is trying to overcome a whole bunch of past so that they can make good plans to take care of their old aging parent. And so doing that, it's because coaching is setting goals and then having someone hold you accountable for it. I'm not a therapist, so I can't go back in and dig up all of their stuff, and that's not really going to be helpful for moving forward. How is their parent going to benefit from them digging up their past?
Right.
The only thing that we have right now is how do we work together moving forward? How do we communicate? How do we put aside all of our pain and all of our trauma and just focus on this goal? So that's what I do.
I love it. So, I mean, when you sit down with these individuals, do you find in their personal lives that once they get, kind of get scrubbed free and clean, that they're transformed, I guess? Do they carry that not only to your knowledge, do they carry that into their professional world? Mm-hmm. Or, they're probably just overall, I don't know, they have a clearer mindset. I would imagine in everyday walk of life, they're just better.
Well, I think, I truly believe that healthy relationships through healthy communication involves so much emotional intelligence, so much self-awareness, so much self-reflection, being accountable for your decisions. So when you start doing this process with me, that's what I'm holding you accountable to. Right. I had a client just 2 days ago. She just got on the Zoom and she just starts blasting. And I was like, okay, fair. But by the end of it, she was like, I know that it's me and I've got to work on me. Now, I'm here. You can vent all you want. That's perfect. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to say, what about you? Like, what are you going to do? Because we can't fix everyone else, but we can fix ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I've been on, if you've been following me at all, I've been on this crazy journey myself for a good almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
And, so I know. I do go to therapy because it's not because I'm crazy, it's because I'm trying to get clarity. And I think people who do that, they find that they get the strategy, the guidance, the accountability factor, right?
Yep.
And it really does help you dig deeper in your soul for change. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And I'll never stop going. I say that every episode, right, guys? So it's like, I love it because, when I've watched, even this morning I was watching some of your videos that you've done, and then you cruising through LinkedIn lately. You had a workshop, I think it was Ann Arbor or something.
Yeah, Destination Ann Arbor.
Yeah. And, and you talk about conflict in some of your speaking engagements. What do you see as like in a relationship? Like, what is some of the biggest conflicts or hurdles that couples have? I would imagine communication.
Definitely communication. I think the biggest hurdles that they have is one stops showing up authentically. Because, at some point you just start going, I would rather have peace in my house. That's the way it was towards the end of my marriage. I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to stop trying. Like, I'm going to stop asking for my needs to be met. I'm going to stop asking for things that I want to see happen in my life or our life or our kids' lives because it's just not happening. So one person just keeps giving, but not in a way that's like, okay, we've compromised, we've talked this out, we've come to a great plan, but rather just like, this is going to be my life. Yeah. And that's where you find people that are stuck and miserable.
Yeah, and I think, respect is a big one I've seen. And in my past relationships, we get frustrated, right? I get frustrated. She is frustrated. And if we don't communicate effectively, eventually you start to kind of, it just dissipates, and then I think at some level the respect layer starts to kind of break down a little bit. You mentioned, and recently in something I watched, you were one of your, I think it was, I don't think it was your ex-husband, I think it was maybe a boyfriend, but there was a partner that you were with that disrespected you because you were the butt of his jokes when you would go out with
ex-husband.
Was it? Oh, it was your ex-husband then. So I felt bad. I was like, oh, it sucks. I mean, here you are trying to have a good night with friends, and you're the joke of it all. I'm like, oh, I can't even imagine it. So I'm sorry you had to even go through that. Hopefully he gets his karma back. I don't know. Get him in a.
Well, that's a little bit of an awkward part in that conversation as well, because he passed away in August of 2020.
Oh.
Yeah.
How long were you guys married?
We were married for 15 years, but when he passed, we had been divorced for almost 4.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It happens.
Yeah. Hey, I bring up all kinds of stuff not knowing anything. So sometimes I uncover things that I'm like, whoop. But that's the true, authentic side of, I guess, our conversations,
What made that, it was hard, obviously. I never wanted to see him pass away. I wanted him to find his own home and his own happiness and joy. But he was never able to let go of all of that grief. He never dealt with it, the loss of what he imagined our lives were going to be. And unfortunately, the relationship had become co-parenting had become so toxic and so terrible, and he was lost in all of his trauma that when he passed, the relationship with his family was broken, and my kids suffered because of that. So that's why one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about relationships is because it was in that moment when my kids are suffering, they've lost their father, their grandparents aren't showing up for them, and I realized that it was my fault. I had fucked up because I didn't figure out how to have a relationship with these people through those years. And we've since repaired it. We've since, they were texting last night, how are the kids? Are they excited? It's still a little awkward, but it's nice, and I'm passionate about seeing those things work, because we can, when we put aside our pride, when we acknowledge where it's our fault and we hold ourselves accountable, then we become healthier people and we're able to have more genuine conversations.
Yeah. I think that ties right into like forgiveness, right? We have to forgive others, but the hardest thing that I think all of us do, especially me, is forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
And especially with family, that's really that pride thing, that ego thing is a challenge. It's just like you want to beat your chest and I'm the king of this, whatever. And it's just it sucks because communication is like, it's so easy, but yet it's the most complex thing I've experienced. Right? You have nowadays. Good, bad, the ugly. I'm getting it out there, right? And I'm going to say if I'm with somebody and I'm just like, this is kind of on my growth journey, and I've learned to dig deep and understand. I'm aware more than ever, but it's helping me communicate better, right? And I share my feelings more than anything. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to dive deep inside to learn how to do this, and that's okay. Hey, I cry, I'm human. I laugh.
Yeah.
I swear, I get all kinds of emotions stuff going. But no, I love that, and I think overall, like, a good home, a good healthy relationship, good partner carries in when you go to the workplace too, right? I mean, so when you're coaching like leaders, business owners, executives, what are some of the things that you look for when you sit down with them in the workplace, and then what are you trying to help them understand when they leave work and they carry that lessons learned home?
A lot of what I do when I initially sit down with someone is try to listen between what they're saying. Okay. Because we all come in at first wanting to bring our best selves, but that usually is not our most genuine selves, the differences. And I like it because I can, just sit there, just sit and talk to me for a little bit. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're thinking in this moment. And I liked it because I sat down with 2 owners, and I could tell that one couldn't read the situation. Like he's explaining it, he's telling me one thing, and I can just see on the other owner's face, like, no, that's not what's happening here. And I could tell that he wanted it to be okay. The conflict that was going on in this environment and in this company and this culture, he wanted it to be okay enough, and he wasn't willing to look at how bad it was. And so I have to, as I'm listening to him, wanting it to be okay, I have to give him the freedom to recognize that it's not. Because that's pride. You know, he wants it to be good. He wants it to be like, oh, we're only in a little bit of trouble. And I want him to feel safe enough to say, crap, we're in some big trouble. Like, I mean, big trouble that even I'm afraid to acknowledge.
Yeah, and I think that carries over to the workforce with your people, right? Because if as a leader, you're able to kind of confront your own feelings, be able to understand, you know, the type of leader you are, the culture of your organization, and be able to communicate effectively to your teams, your team of people, and build a stronger relationship with them. You'll get more productivity, you'll get more loyalty, more sustainability in terms of how the organization's ran. I mean, would you agree with that, or am I just crazy?
No, you're not crazy. Well, I think what's important is if a leader can actually recognize the problem, understand it, communicate it, then their employees, their peers, their coworkers are going to feel validated. Because that is one of the big things in communication. You have to validate what this person is saying, even if you don't fully recognize it yet, or fully understand it, or even kind of jive with it. You have to at least validate first. And then once you're able to do that, you've built trust. And once you've built trust, then as you start making decisions as the leader, as a CEO, you know, that kind of stuff, people will follow you when they know that you've heard them, you validated them, you are working on a plan to fix said problems, whatever they are, and you're communicating. And when you do all that stuff, trust is built and they'll keep following you. But if you've skipped a step, trust starts to diminish, and they'll go defensive, and they'll be like, okay, I need more. Like, I need to know what's going on. You need to communicate.
I think that's interesting because we are both going to be at Disrupt HR Detroit 4.0, everybody, October 3rd. And I've been thinking about this in a way about what my topic's going to be. Forgive me, I forgot what your topic is. What is it?
Mine is go ahead and drink on the job.
Go ahead and drink on the job. When we sat down, I didn't bring it all together. So, you know, when you get these leaders in HR, since we're going to be talking about some of these things and how it impacts an organization, it's like, I think the onboarding process, right? This is the kind of conversation when you onboard a new employee and or do routine kind of check-ins, letting them feel like, you know, that they're appreciated, that this is an open culture of ideas. You know, if you just need someone to, I don't know, share some things with, or you're feeling a certain type of way, the relationship between you, your peers, your boss, come in, let's talk. Build that have that open communication so that the relationships across teams are stronger. Right? So I think it'll be interesting to see how that event goes, because I can't wait to see your speech on this. But you know, where do you find the most joy in listening to others, their stories, when you're digging deep into their relationships?
I find the most joy when I see them start to get it without me even, like, because it's all, everything that we need to be successful in our relationships, it's all in there. We all know it. We just have layers of culture or trauma or misperceptions, anything like that. It just covers all of that. For me, like, I'm a big feeling person. Like, I feel my feelings in major ways. Like, if I'm happy, I'm so happy. When I'm sad, I'm like depressed and almost bedridden. You know, like, it's just when I'm angry, you don't want to mess with me. So to know that I need to separate all of that and pull all that down to get down to how I'm actually feeling and what is causing my feeling. And so to do those exercises with people, I just love it, because then they're able to be like, okay, yep, I need to think about that, or I need to refocus on this, you know, and It's perfect.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Well, first of all, I'm glad you're not angry today and you came in a good mood. I don't want to mess with you that way. I noticed a heart on your hand.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
I have a tattoo that says, we love because he first loved us. That's my favorite Bible verse. I'm just so passionate about people feeling loved. We feel so alone in this world. And you don't have to be alone. And it just takes simple acts of one-on-one conversations, eye contact, moments where you can show someone that you care about them, that you're genuinely interested in who they are as people. And it's just little acts of love, little acts of kindness.
I love that.
I just love
That's
it.
awesome.
It was the worst tattoo ever, though. Don't get one on your hand.
No, hey, it has a story, which is brilliant. I love it. Every time I see people with tattoos, I ask them what's the why behind it, and I want to know because they're always interesting.
Yeah.
But the kindness piece is amazing because for years, I just call it my smile campaign. Like I've produced videos and little speeches and talks about just making someone smile. Mm-hmm. Walk into a grocery store, turn around, smile. Even ask them, how's your day going? Mm-hmm. And every time I go anywhere with customer service, I could be at a grocery store, I could be at a restaurant, through the drive-through. It doesn't matter. I always ask them. First I smile at them, and then I'll ask them, how's the day treating you so far?
Yeah.
And most of the time, which I'm surprised, come on people, is they always say, thank you for asking. You're the first person today. Oh. And it makes their day, right? And then sometimes people are just, they won't even look at you and you just go, yeah, it's all right. I'm just saying, I feel for that person. Mm-hmm. We don't know smile because we don't know what the other person's going through, right? If you see somebody in line and they look like, man, the world's heavy on their shoulders right now. You can see it in their eyes, their body, there's this whole demeanor. You just smile sometimes. Show that act of kindness and that love.
Yeah.
Right? What's wrong with that? We need more of that.
I know.
Come on, people. Jeez. My God, what is this world coming to? Are we just all a bunch of robots, non-emotional?
We're just scared. We've gone through so much. The cancel culture, I think, did so much damage. So much damage. And I hate that for people because I'd rather see your most authentic self and still love you regardless of it.
Yeah, I think the hippie culture had immense. I mean, they were ahead of their times maybe. Maybe we need to inject some of that love back into this world,
Yes.
My God, peace, love, and happiness, people. Let's go. So, no, that's awesome. So, I can only imagine, I don't know, it's just like your own relationship. I mean, you don't have to share it, but I mean, it's got to be pretty awesome because you get to take the learnings, the good, the bad, the ugly of all these people that you coach and try to extract the learnings from that and inject it into your own relationship, right? How does that work as a relationship coach? I want to know. Come on.
I'm actually single because it's hard to date me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just, I'm someone that's going to go through right away. One, because of my divorce, and I knew our paths were separate, and I knew what I wanted for my life. So if I start dating or having conversations, I go from the easy date number where you're like, oh, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite color? No, we're talking about your family history.
That's right.
On date one, I'm all the way in it. And I've made plenty of men cry on the first dates because they're just so upset about their life. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. One of them was like, I'm gonna go be a pilot. Thank you so much for encouraging me. I'm like, sure.
You invoice them.
That's what everyone says, but it's just so uncomfortable. So I have to learn how to take my coach hat off.
Yeah.
And then just be, a girl on a date.
Yeah. Well, that would be hard, though.
It's hard. It's really hard. But what I do in my personal life is because, my kids are with me 24/7. We have a lot of really hard conversations. And not in that I'm confronting them, but we're talking about the big topics. We're talking about, the trauma and how it affects how my son sees the world or how my daughter reacts in the world. Losing their father is obviously a big one. So they kind of try to overparent me sometimes because, they don't want to lose me. I'm the last thing that they have.
Yeah.
Both my parents are gone, so they only have one set of grandparents. So, our family unit is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So to be able to talk to them and say, okay, what are you bringing to this conversation right now because you're a little heated or you're feeling your feelings, but you don't really know what's triggering your feelings.
How old are your kids? Like what age?
My son will be 18 in October.
Okay.
My daughter's 13.
Okay, so yeah, that's 2020. That's 4 years ago. So they're still young, and that's still right there at the forefront of their minds, I would imagine. So
yeah.
Luckily, they have you as a mom that knows how to structure and guide them down their emotional path.
Yeah.
I would think. You seem like a strong woman. I mean, gosh, guys, I would be intimidated a little bit. But first of all, I got to hit something on this one. Who goes on a date and asks, as an adult, what color was your favorite color? Or favorite movie? Who gives a shit? Let's get in. I like your approach. Get into the real world topics. Hey, dude, what's your 3-year plan? I mean, we're not getting younger. The clock is going. I want to know that if I go 3 more years,
exactly. I'm
not going to fall down and just, I don't know, waste all that time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm all for that. I hate the dating world. It sucks. It's like. And thank God, I mean, I'm seeing somebody, but it's like, the dating world just seems so complex and full of fakeness. Fake people. Fakeness, is that a word? I don't know. It is now.
It is.
So, it's just full of fake, not authentic. And I think social media has a big play in this. Mm-hmm. All these filters, people are just, they're fabricating stories and, I'm so happy and look at, bullshit, people. Get with it, Face it up. Why don't you post the shit part of your day on there, too? Mm-hmm. If you want to be authentic, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Usually my stuff's so boring. It's either my kids, I have a 10-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't have kids until very late into my marriage, mm-hmm. and I've been divorced now 9.5 years. Oh, yeah, 9.5 years, wow. So they don't even remember us being married.
Oh.
Which is, I don't know if a good thing or a bad thing, but they know that they have 2 awesome parents.
Yeah.
Me better. But, just, so the relationship side, I struggle with that with my own kids. Like, because they are so young, which is awesome. Because I get to live through the most purest, honest part of their life right now.
Yeah.
And see the world through a 10-year-old and 11-year-old perspective. It's very unique and different. But because, I remember back when I was a kid, I was like, oh, man. Nowadays, the access to information, how smart these kids are nowadays, how resourceful they are. Mm-hmm. They don't need to come to me and say, hey, Dad, how do you do this? They go to TikTok or YouTube.
Yep.
I mean, TikTok is a massive search engine for kids nowadays. Mm-hmm. I use it because I just need some laughter. I mean, I just go through and I'm seeing the stupidest shit on there. But, so I'm like, well, should I get on TikTok? And I was like, yeah.
I started getting on TikTok, and I've been putting my LinkedIn stuff on my TikTok because, kids are looking for therapy too.
Right.
They're looking for how to do relationships and what that looks like.
I was going to ask you, about that. Like, do you have any, certain age range that you do therapy with?
I have not had a request for anyone younger, but I work, my
coaching,
day job.
I should say.
Yeah, coaching. My day job is I'm a manager at Weber's Restaurant in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
And so I work with a lot of 16 to 24-year-olds. So they get it for free. I'm having a lot of conversations with them, talking them off the ledge, going, why are you allowing that in your life? Use protection,
Right, all that. Those are real things.
Those are real conversations.
Isn't it crazy? Them. Come on, think about it when we were both 16 years old.
Yeah.
Everything was like, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Is it still that way with these guys? Or are they just kind of holding back and they just lock it in?
I like this generation in that they are more open to hearing things.
Really? Okay.
But they still think they know everything.
Of course.
So
we all did
like,
at that age.
Okay, tell me what you're thinking. If that's what you think,
Yeah.
So they all know what I do, and so they'll ask me, if they're struggling and stuff, they'll be like, oh, can you help me with this? Sure.
See, that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
To be that trusted resource for them. I had Anthony Gruppito on the show last week, and he covers a lot of mental health issues. He travels around all the schools from all ages, and he does, talking, speaking engagements on mental health, and he incorporates magic with it. And he owns a company called The Magic of Hope. But it's interesting because these kids, he even said, I mean, they are very smart these days. They are very resourceful, right? But the number one thing is that they still struggle with this mental health thing. And I think our country, our world needs to really embrace that and inject more resources and guidance around it. This is such an important topic. And it doesn't necessarily mean people are, nuts or crazy. It just means stress, anxiety, depression. I fought depression, and I'm still fighting a little bit. It's not as bad, but I fought it for 4 years, not even knowing how depressed I was.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine some of these kids. And then suicide prevention. Think about some of these 16-year-old kids that might have a problem. They don't have somebody like you to go to, invent, and get whatever it is out of them that they need to, because you mentioned, help getting them off the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
What if that person didn't have somebody and they did something bad, terrible? So God bless you, man. That's awesome that you're trusted like that, and you have the superpowers to heal.
Well, to be fair, I'm one of the older ones, so I'm like the mom, one of the moms of the group, which is fine. I am a mom, so
yeah. And they're within your age range too of kids, so it's even better. You can relate. Hey kids, get off YouTube, get off TikTok, go outside and play. What do 16-year-olds do outside and play anymore? I don't know.
No, they don't.
I don't think
drive
they do.
around in their car with really loud music.
Oh God, we did that too. What are you talking about?
My son
You're not going
has
to tell me
the
you didn't do
best
that.
system in his car, and I am so jealous.
Really?
And you can just hear him coming down the neighborhood, and I'm like, sorry.
The important things to do, when you're 16, you go out and spend thousands of dollars on you're driving a 19-something car and wheels are barely on it, and you got a sweet sound
Great
system.
sound system.
That thing don't vibrate.
The whole thing is awesome. Dude, and it's a Honda CR-V, so it's not even like a cool car.
That's what I mean. It's like a 16-year-old, you're not driving a Bugatti or a Mercedes or whatever luxury vehicle. It's going to be pretty much a shit wagon with a badass stereo system in it.
Awesome.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. So, I mean, being a mom, dealing with other relationships, helping people refine their relationships, it's got to be so rewarding, right? But the dark side of it, is there a dark side of it? I mean, do sometimes when people meet with you on relationship coaching, that they just look at each other and go, fuck you, we're done. This isn't going to work. She opened up. I now see a different side of you. I mean, does that ever happen?
I've had two situations where I was just kind of like,
I want to get into the dirt of this.
You guys, you need to part ways. It wasn't actually, it was a corporate situation where the owner had just put this employee in a box, and he was never going to take that employee out of that box. It was always that. And every time I tried to open his mind to possibilities of, actually, I think you've got a really good employee here.
Right.
He just couldn't do it. He could not get himself out of that box. And once I was able to help this employee recognize that was happening, they were like, okay.
Bye-bye.
And so they're at a new job, and they're happy, and it's sad. I didn't want to see that for either of them, but that's how you move on. That's how you grow. Yeah. And that employee was able to leave not feeling as angry. They were just like, okay. Some people just get put in boxes. It just happens. You can never, there's just too much water under the bridge. There's just too much stuff there.
Right.
And so it's time to move on, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. So that happened. But then I did see, at the beginning of the summer, one of my son's friends got kicked out of his house, and so we brought him into the home for a couple of days. And as I were talking to him, he was 18, so that's why he got kicked out. And they're like, "You're 18, just get out."
Oh my goodness!
He was in the problem was he was in an abusive relationship that he wasn't able to let go of. He was young when he met her, and she's older, and she's just abusive to him. He'd come into school with scratches and stuff on his face, and it was hard to watch him leave our home and go right back into that. You know, that's the stuff. No matter, like, I tried talking to him about everything. Like, I was like, listen, they had been together for 2 years. His whole attitude, anyone in an abusive relationship, they start to change. You know that. You can see it. The family recognizes it. And he just couldn't get away from her. One, because she was the first person he had sex with. And I was like, dude, you're 18. Trust me. That's not going to be the only woman you will ever be with.
Right.
There are other women out there. Don't stay with her just because, you know, it's not worth it. Walk out. It's fine.
Again, I think a lot of people are just, they're fearful. Yeah. And us guys, it's a little different maybe, I think. I think those guys can't, you know, once you did that, they don't want it, you don't want anyone else to have you, you know, it's just like, so screw it, I'm just going to tough it out, girl, I'm just going to ride the wave of you beating the shit out of me, and I'm going to work every day making up excuses, how many stairs I fell down, and I cut myself running through the bushes, whatever the excuse is. I don't know. I think people are just fearful, or they don't think that there is somebody, you know, on the other side of that equation that will treat them with respect and kindness and love, and they just settle for it, and that's sad. Yeah, you know,
I saw that a lot. That's part of what you'll find in my book is stories. Because when I started dating after my divorce, I'm meeting all these men who were just in such miserable marriages. They were sad and they were lonely, and all they really wanted was an authentic connection with their wife.
Look at this. Every chapter is going to be about one of her dating experiences. This is going to be awesome. Dinner with Joe at XYZ restaurant. Chapter 1.
Chapter 6. Actually, I think Joe is in chapter 6 now.
That would be, I mean, come on. That would be a great book of stories. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
And then
that's
at
my
the
book.
end of each chapter, the lessons learned from that date. You know?
Yeah.
You onto something here.
I am.
That's great. No, I'd be afraid to read it now. Just to, oh, wait a minute. You're reading her book? Okay, I gotta check, please. I'd be so screwed.
I know. I'm gonna be single the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think so. They're gonna. Every guy's gonna be like, New York bestseller here. Oh boy. You know, where can I win in this thing? I gotta get. Chapter 8 looks somewhat.
But to be fair, you know, the book explains what it is I'm looking for in a man. So come on,
see, guys,
read
you're gonna
the
have to. You want this is like the secret code to a woman's heart and soul, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Thanks.
Now I'm gonna kind of read it and be scared, but also now I'm excited.
Okay. I'll do audiobook
break
for
the code.
You know.
Yeah, I'll need that driving.
Okay.
You know, but I love the tangible hard books. I love reading it. I'll sit at home, have a glass of wine. Usually on my balcony because I live on the water, and I just enjoy the view and serenity that comes with that.
Yeah.
So I love reading. Almost everyone that comes on there, well, not almost everyone that's come on the show. If they have a book, I've always bought it, and I enjoy reading it. But I'm not one of those readers that just like, I'm going to sit down for hours. I mean, I'm talking like 20, 30-minute power reads, and then all of a sudden, squirrel, you know. My brain's going all over the place.
I usually have like 3 or 4 books that I'm reading.
Gosh, same here.
I'm like, okay, I need a break from this one.
I have all my business cards. I pass out, instead of passing out business cards, I have business cards filled with my books and pages all bent over. Yep. And I use a highlighter because every time, and you do the same?
I do.
So
I write notes.
I feel bad I'm abusing their books, and you know.
But it's good information.
Yeah.
You know, this is
and then I'll go through there and I'll pull some of that out, and sometimes those become my social posts. Like, hey, this is cool. You know?
I think it's great if we can learn from each other.
Yeah.
I think that's why are we not here doing that?
I mean, isn't that what the human race is supposed to be? We're supposed to be learning and evolving.
One would think.
Oh my God, get with it, people. Jeez, what's up? I mean, that's what you think about. It's like, I was at a wine bar, and this was probably, this particular conversation I'm going to share with you was probably last summer. And the server, the bartenderess, was talking about, she does therapy. Going to school for therapy, I should say. And bartending to help offset that expense. And she goes, you know what would be a really cool idea is I want to start a bar and mix therapy with it. And she wants to call it bar therapy. And I was like, oh, I mean, as cool as that might sound, because if you think about it, you're sitting around the bar, and if you're a bartender, I can only imagine, that's like therapy.
Yeah.
Like you probably would make a great therapist, because everyone's, and then watching them go from zero to messed up quickly is an interesting perspective, right? So I was like, so if you did that though, I mean, I can't imagine like how would that work, right? I don't know. Like, you sit here just going, well, I'm going to do some relationship coaching at this bar today, and I'm going to get all kinds of really good juice, and
I actually did
in fact,
that.
here comes my next book, everybody.
We were, I was at a restaurant, me and my kids, and we could tell that this couple had come in for a first date. And
those are funny.
oh my God, it was just, we were all, the three of us, we were just listening to this guy, and we're just like, oh, okay, all right. Turn, don't do that on a date. Like, that's what I'm saying to my son. I'm like, don't do that. Don't say that. Don't ask that question. Like, I'm just listening to this guy just tank the date. And you could just see that she was wanting to go. And then finally he got up to leave, and I just slid her my card.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say, here you go.
I said, so how's it going? She said, you can hear it, huh? And I was like, yep. Yeah, if you want to talk sometime, we can. And then we just got up and left, because I didn't want her, to make it awkward for her when he came back. But
oh my God, she gets your car and goes, he comes back from the bathroom. Well, that was interesting. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know. Relationships are crazy. I am definitely not the king of them. I've lost so many relationships because of my own stupidity. I'm sure, a lot of guys do stupid shit, but, I have learned at the ripe age of 54, you have to listen. You have to process before you vomit all over them with your words and your thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's taken me my whole lifetime to and I'm still trying to figure this out, but I have learned to communicate better than ever now. I will talk through everything, and I will shut up and listen, process before I speak. So am I on something here? Am I doing it right?
You're doing it right.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So I'm trying to, inject some humor, inject this, but not just be me. I'm a dork. Not just me though in life.
Okay, but if your girlfriend needs to hit me up, I'll leave a card.
That's right. Leave a card. No. Oh my God, that would be funny. It would be interesting to see how that would turn out. Oh boy. No, I'll tell you a little secret that not many people know. It was so her and I were together for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And because of where I was at in my journey of depression and not knowing things and going to therapy, it is what ended our relationship. So it was my fault, 100%. She didn't, I didn't listen to her like I should have. I didn't respect her anymore like I used to. I still loved her, but I hid behind a lot of things, and I made it all her fault, right? It wasn't her fault at all. It was this idiot. So after a year and a half of going to therapy, this summer, we realigned. We never lost touch, but we've been redating again. And it's a better relationship because of the therapy, because I've been learning about who I am as a person, what I want to be as a person, and how to, just engage in a relationship. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I just never felt better now and about being in a relationship. And if this ends, I'm going to know how to, I'll just take the lessons learned from it and just go on and be even a better partner.
Right. That's what, yeah, I wish people did that work in any relationships, anything that they're leaving. Because I'm talking to a young woman, she's been just dropped from job to job to job.
Okay.
And there's really good reasons, that they had to let people go, and then because she didn't do the work to grieve those losses. Because grief shows up in everything. If you lose your favorite job, you're suddenly hurt, and you wonder, okay, what did I do? How could I have done this better? Grief is everywhere. So you've got to work through that so you don't bring it into the next situation. And then, the poor girl, when she got let go from the next one, it just broke her down, like her self-esteem, her confidence. And as she's moving into her next job, that's why she reached out to me. She was like, I need help. Like, I need to know she's in therapy already, which is great. That works all the past stuff out. What I'm helping her do is, okay, let's make sure we're not taking that baggage in with us anymore.
Yeah.
You know, let's be proactive in communicating up front instead of fear holding you back because you've lost 3 or 4 jobs. You know, instead of going, okay, I'm going to hold on to this job super as hard as possible because I'm so scared, recognize, okay, can we talk about this for a minute?
Right.
And, you know, I'm bringing this in and I have a good relationship with you. Can we talk about it?
That's the important thing, though. Is breaking down all those walls of fear, doubt, and just hanging on to dead weight. It's like I'm writing a new speech. It's called A Lifetime to Erase, right? Not that we can erase our past, but it's about allowing us to let go of the things that no longer serve us. And identifying what those are, right? And it's, you know, I'm still writing it out, but it's coming together really cool. But I'm getting into some of this stuff, like how, you know, carrying, I don't know if you want to call it baggage, but carrying past experiences and trauma from one relationship to the next. I'm the king of that. I've done that my whole life. So that's why I'm so happy now where I'm at, because that I don't do that anymore. It's a fresh, clean slate.
Right.
And I can only imagine that's the relief that your customers, your clients experience.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So good job.
Thanks.
I love it. What would you, I mean, give one piece of advice as we wrap up here. You know, if they're personal relationships, their business, you know, if they own a business and are trying to build stronger relationships in their organizations, what would you, or maybe both, you know, what would you like to leave these folks with?
Well, one of the new kind of speeches I'm working on is accountability. You don't have to be afraid of accountability. Accountability in its most authentic and genuine form actually makes us better.
Yeah.
You know, I know accountability feels like someone is trying to tear you down and cancel culture, but actually it makes us better people, and it's okay. It is okay to be held accountable. It's okay to admit you're wrong. It's okay. It is okay because you're going to be better for it.
That's awesome. Episode 16, everybody. Man, I got to get my own episodes in order. I need like a sign up there. Episode 16, Joni Woods. Johnny, not Joni. I am so humbled and grateful. Thank you for sharing your morning with me here in the Imagine Better studio. You guys go out to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, help us get these messages out across our communities. Hit the notification button so you don't miss other amazing content and episodes like this. Joni, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are a rock star.
Thanks.
And if you guys are struggling in your relationship, boop, 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 reach out to her. I'll have everything that you need to know about her and how to follow her in the description of this episode. You guys have a great day. Love you guys. Cheers, girl.